today I want to talk about the magical way out of negativity, and I'll give you a little handout piece towards the end as well. But when I was looking at it, there's this book that I picked up or heard about when I was over in the UK at the Arthur Findlay College, and one of my tutors, every class that we did, just before we started the class, she would just randomly, so 365 little things in it, but she would just randomly just pick out something. So this morning I was just looking, and I just opened a page and I thought, oh my God, it really actually fits the talk that I'm just presenting today. So if you just bear with me for a sec, I will be reading this. It talks about give constant thanks for everything. There is much to be grateful for. Open your eyes, look around and see how blessed you are. As you do so, you will find yourself filled with an overwhelming feeling of love and gratitude, and the whole of life and living will take on a new meaning. The people around you will mean more to you because your heart is filled with love for them, and you have a deeper understanding and tolerance towards them. You will find yourself grateful for them, for their love and companionship, for just being themselves. Your eyes will be open to all the beauty and harmony around you and to the wonders of nature. You will see with eyes that really see, that's the song that we just sang, and you will hear with ears that really hear, and you will speak with words of love and understanding. Life will be good to you because you are taking nothing for granted, but appreciative of everything and can see my hand in everything. I just thought that was just so appropriate for today. It's beautiful. Feel free at the end, have a look at the book if you'd like to, but it's a gorgeous little book. And so in talking about the some of the situations, and I think, I feel, and I'll talk to myself, I've been in this situation numerous times throughout my life where all of a sudden you get a bit overwhelmed, and the job's not right, or this isn't right, or I wish my kids would grow up a bit, or all those sorts of things. We're human, aren't we? But when we get into those modes, we're actually really attracting that negative energy around us. And and I'll just read a couple of little concepts. I'm taking this out of The Magic, The Way Out of Negativity. Has anyone seen the book The Magic? It's by Rhonda Byrne. So she wrote The Secret, and related through from is it Abraham and Esther Hicks and everything like that. So they're one of the ones that first put it down in writing. Not saying it's their concept, but they first put it in writing. And then they worked with Rhonda Byrne on creating the little video called The Secret. And if anyone's into Netflix at the moment, The Secret is on Netflix, so you can actually have a look at it through there. And then she wrote the book The Secret, The Power, The Hero, and everything. But she wrote a book called The Magic. And it's a little 28-day plan that you do something different every day for 28 days. So a couple of times I think I've been here and I've presented some things out of the book, because I just find it so great that, you know, you can take just one little 4 or 5 page chapter and really change your life around with it. So this one here is just talking about whether it's a relationship in turmoil, financial pressure, a lack of health or problems in a job, negative situations arise because of a lack of gratitude over a long period of time. We're not grateful for each thing in our lives. We are unintentionally taking those things for granted. So it's saying taking things for granted is a major cause of negativity, because when we take things for granted, we're not giving things in return, and we stop the magic happening in our life. And start to sort of think about it. It's so true, isn't it? You know, if you're in a bad mood when you wake up or something, or the milkman didn't drop off the milk bottles back in the old days or something like that, you know, my whole day is, you know, not the best. So it's starting to think about those positive things. So, and little things like, when we get unwell, is that when we remember that, oh wow, I should have been more grateful for my health? Or should we be more grateful for our health when we're actually well? Do you know what I mean? Flip it around. Because what you're doing then is you're actually hopefully perpetuating good health. Whereas if you save it until you remember it, that you had good health, then sometimes, you know, that's a bit of pressure or a bit of, shall we say, not a bit, but probably a lot of work to get us back into a healthy mode. Not saying that you can't, but it's a bit more of a challenge. Yeah. And, you know, with your health, sometimes you might only notice it when your body aches, rather than noticing it, oh wow, I could actually run this, not that I can do it, run this kilometre or whatever when I was younger. Like I look sometimes back and I think, wow, in my younger days, I used to roller skate and play roller hockey, and I used to think, wow, I never appreciated back then what I could do with my body, you know, those sorts of things, and everything. And I used to just think, oh, everyone could do it, but you didn't. I took it for granted. Whereas now I think, oh my God, I'd love to be able to be back there and be fit and do that type of thing. So, are you grateful for your pay, your salary, or your income to receive it, or do you take your pay or salary for granted? You know, it's, yes, I know that we work or we earn it or we get our income from some other way because we worked or earned it, whichever way you do it, but sometimes we do take it for granted, don't we? So, taking things for granted results in complaining, negative thoughts and words. So when you complain by the law of attraction, you must bring more things into your life to complain about. So that's what you're drawing into. So yeah, just food for thought for people. If you're complaining about the weather, the traffic, your boss, your spouse, your family, a friend or a stranger, waiting in lines, paying bills, the economy, the cost of something, or a service of a company, you're not being grateful and you're pushing your dream of your great life away further from you. And that was a big long list, but if you think about it, what do we complain about, or what do we say, oh, I wish that wasn't happening, oh, you know, sorry that's happening. I think
normal day.
Well, and that's the thing, is so if you have a look at your life, and if that's your normal day, what energy are you really putting around you? So it's just food for thought, okay? So hopefully, yeah, hopefully now you understand that complaining, negative thoughts and words, taking things for granted stops the good things in your life. Now you understand when something goes very wrong, you have unintentionally not been grateful enough. So I'm not saying you're doing it purposely, but sometimes we just get into that natural mode, don't we, of where we are. And these days especially, I notice with our grandchildren, and those that have got young children or are around young children, you probably notice that sometimes they're not as grateful for things compared to maybe the younger generations. Not saying they're all like that, but you've probably noticed some generations aren't as grateful. Oh, wow, thanks for getting that for me, Nana, or, you know, oh, wow, thank you for the ice cream, or just, I want an ice cream. Please with that? Oh, yeah, please. Because that's the only way I get the ice cream, you know, rather than being, oh, wow, I'd really appreciate that, that would be nice, Nana, or something like that. So I'm not saying all of the new generations are like that, but you can probably relate to what I'm saying. Sometimes we're not teaching our children to be grateful for things because we're not teaching ourselves to be grateful for things, so we don't pass it on. And that. So it's possible to be negative when you're, it's not possible to be negative if you're actually grateful. So you won't be in a negative mood if you're actually grateful for things. There's no way that can sort of balance out. First, as difficult as it may be, have a look for things to be grateful for in a negative situation. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. So I haven't seen the movie, but this refers to, and I have heard a little bit of it. Who has seen here Pollyanna that Disneyland that Disney put out? And they did apparently the glad song, or they talked about everything that you're glad for. So anytime anything negative happens, they teach you to be glad for the things that are happening. Which parts of it are you happy for and glad for? So even Walt Disney had that view of trying to bring in positivity rather than looking at the negativity. And Buddha, one of the Buddhas popped in a quote, and it's quite interesting when you read it. It's, let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful. Which is actually quite interesting, isn't it, when you look it back, you know, that we're taking a breath. And that. So an example of a problem that you might need to work yourself out for example, is say that there's a son and he's having a bit of difficulty with his father and their relationship or things like that. So what they suggest is to write down, say, 10 things that you might be grateful for around, you know, that person or that situation to hopefully bring in more positiveness into the thing. I won't go through them all, but sometimes it's, I'll do this one rather than that one. Say that you're unemployed at the moment and you may have been employed and you're in a situation and you can be really down about that I haven't got a job or things like that. So some of the things that you might want to put in your grateful list could be that I'm so grateful that I've had more time with my family during this period while you have been unemployed. Or you might think, I'm grateful that I've had a job for most of my life and that I'm experienced. Or you might think, I'm grateful that I have my health and that I can work. So I won't rattle off the whole 10 that they've got examples for, but it just gives you that different way of thinking rather than I haven't got a job. And one of the things that you might think of is that I'm grateful that there's more jobs coming forward for me to consider rather than, oh, I haven't got anything. Well, tomorrow there might be some more stuff coming. And often you hear people that say that type of thing. So that's all around that. Now, what I wanted to give you, and I'll get them to hand out, it's just some wording. I'll do that hand which way, and you just want to hand it that way. It's just some wording. So when you're thankful for something, you know, or when something's happening that's a little bit negative, what this wording helps you to remember is some of the things that you might say, like, actually, this is happening to me, but I'm actually grateful for. And write that down. And if you don't want to say that, you might say, oh, I'm truly grateful for, okay? Or you might play the glad game. I'm glad that. Even though something might look a bit overwhelming and that at the time, see if you can have a look at those sorts of thoughts, okay? And when you achieve what's happening for you, or even at the end of doing your 10 thoughts on the subject that has been negative, you know, it's the old thing of thank you, thank you, thank you for the perfect resolution. So it's about grabbing that stuff and being thankful for where things come. And just for today, let's see if you can get through today without saying anything negative. That's my challenge to you. See, because what you'll probably realise is how many times you actually do say something that actually isn't negative, and that's what you could be bringing into your environment. And if you do say it, stop immediately and say this, but I have to say I'm really grateful for. So I don't like the dog over the road barking all the time. However, I'm really grateful for that he alerts me when other people are around. Something like that. Now, I don't know if you ever, in your English classes, but were you ever taught that if ever you say something, you might say to someone, absolutely love your outfit, darling, but. The second you say a but, you've actually negated that conversation that you've just had. Do you know what I mean? So that's why they say to say the but or the however in it. So you've said something and you actually want to remove that, so you put the but into it. So it's probably about the only time in English language that you'd actually want to use the words but and however, because you want to turn it around. And so think of that whenever the buts and the however. So whenever you say something to someone and you give someone a beautiful compliment or something like that, oh wow, don't you look absolutely gorgeous? But you know, it's a shame that you're running late. Like, how many times does someone say something like that? And you've probably never twigged about what that actually means. It's like, oh, you know how they say, oh, lead in with something really great when you're going to tell someone something negative. I don't think they meant that as an example, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so think of, you know, how your language is today, and if any little problem or situation appears in the future, remember to put down the embers with gratitude before it grows into a fire. At the same time, you will ignite the magic in your life. So just have a bit of a think about that.
Thank you.